Have you ever driven down a lonely road at night and felt a chill, like you were being watched? For one couple in the 1960s, that feeling became an unbelievable reality. This is the story of Betty and Barney Hill, and the night that changed their lives and the world of ufology forever. It's September 19th, 1961. Betty Hill, a social worker, and her husband Barney, a postal worker, are driving home to Portsmouth, New Hampshire after a vacation in Canada. They're a typical interracial couple for the era, well respected in their community, which makes their story even more compelling. The night is clear, the road is dark, and the White Mountains loom around them. Suddenly, Betty notices a bright, erratic light in the sky. At first she thinks it's a satellite, but it's moving strangely, descending and getting closer. Barney, a World War II veteran and a pragmatist, is skeptical. He dismisses it as a commercial airplane. But the light keeps pace with their car, zipping across the sky in ways no plane could. Curiosity gets the better of them. They pull over. Barney grabs his binoculars and steps out of the car for a better look. What he sees terrifies him. It's not a plane, it's a massive, silent, pancake-shaped craft, hovering just a few hundred feet above them. Through the binoculars, he can make out a double row of windows and figures moving inside, looking down at him. A sense of overwhelming danger washes over him. He later described it as feeling like a rabbit about to be captured by a predator. He sprints back to the car, screaming at Betty, "They're going to capture us!" He throws the car into gear and speeds away. But then, a strange series of beeping and buzzing sounds fills the car, and a deep drowsiness overcomes them both. The next thing they know, they're 35 miles further down the road, with only a hazy, disjointed memory of the past 2 hours. The beeping has stopped. They arrive home much later than they should have, confused and disoriented. Their watches have stopped working. Barney's best shoes are scuffed and scraped, and Betty's dress is torn and covered in a strange, pinkish powder. They know something profound happened in those missing hours, but the details are locked away in their subconscious. This unexplained gap in their journey is what investigators call missing time, a hallmark of many alleged abduction experiences. In the days and weeks that follow, their anxiety grows. Both Betty and Barney begin to experience disturbing physical and psychological symptoms. Barney develops a cluster of perfectly circular warts on his groin and suffers from high blood pressure. Betty is plagued by vivid, recurring nightmares. In these dreams, she and Barney are taken aboard the strange craft by humanoid beings. She dreams of being subjected to medical-like examinations by beings with large, wraparound eyes, grey skin, and small mouths. The dreams are so consistent and distressing that they realize they need help to understand what truly happened. Seeking answers, they report their sighting to the Pease Air Force Base. The official investigation, part of Project Blue Book, concludes they likely misidentified the planet Jupiter. The Hills find this explanation completely unsatisfying. It doesn't account for the close-range sighting, the figures in the windows, or the missing time. The psychological toll continues to mount, so they decide to seek professional help. This leads them to a respected Boston psychiatrist and neurologist, Dr. Benjamin Simon. He specializes in using hypnosis to recover traumatic memories. Over several months in 1964, Dr. Simon conducted separate hypnosis sessions with both Betty and Barney. The recorded transcripts of these sessions are chilling. Under hypnosis, both of them independently recounted a remarkably similar and terrifying story. They described being forced to stop their car and taken aboard the silent, hovering craft. They spoke of non-human beings leading them down a metallic hallway into separate examination rooms. Barney, in a state of deep fear, described having a cup-like device placed over his groin and a sample taken. Betty recalled a long needle being inserted into her navel, which she was told was a pregnancy test. She described trying to communicate with one of the beings, who she called the leader. One of the most astonishing elements to emerge from these sessions was a star map. Under hypnosis, Betty asked the leader where they were from. In response, he showed her a three-dimensional map of stars connected by lines, indicating trade routes and expeditions. Later, in a post-hypnotic state, Betty was able to draw this map from memory. She drew a series of dots and circles, connected by solid and dashed lines. At the time, the map was meaningless to astronomers. But in 1968, an amateur astronomer and teacher named Marjorie Fish took an interest. She built dozens of three-dimensional models of nearby sun-like stars, trying to find a perspective that matched Betty's drawing. After years of work, she found a potential match. The pattern seemed to align with the Zeta Reticuli star system, a pair of stars about 39 light-years from Earth. Betty's map, drawn years before these stars were widely studied, suddenly had a plausible, albeit speculative, astronomical basis. Skeptics, of course, argue it was a coincidence, or that the map was vague enough to match multiple star patterns. When the Hill's story was eventually leaked to the press, it caused a media sensation. A 1965 newspaper article series brought their account to national attention. This was followed by John G. Fuller's best-selling 1966 book, The Interrupted Journey, and a popular 1975 TV movie starring James Earl Jones as Barney. The Betty and Barney Hill case became the prototype for the alien abduction narrative. Before them, UFO reports were mostly about lights in the sky. The Hills story introduced the public to the concepts of missing time, medical examinations, and communication with alien beings, themes that would appear in thousands of reports to come. Of course, the case has always had its share of skeptics. Some argued that Betty's nightmares, which started shortly after the incident, were influenced by a sci-fi movie she had seen, and that she inadvertently fed these details to Barney. They suggest Dr. Simon's hypnosis sessions might have unintentionally created false memories. Others point to the social pressures on an interracial couple in the early 1960s as a source of underlying psychological stress that could have manifested in this way. Barney himself was a member of the NAACP and faced significant racism, which could have fueled his feelings of persecution and fear. The circular marks on their car were identified as ordinary compass ring marks, not evidence of an alien landing. Despite these skeptical explanations, the Betty and Barney Hill case refuses to fade away. Why? Because the Hills were credible witnesses with no desire for fame or fortune. Their testimonies, given separately under hypnosis, were remarkably consistent. The physical evidence, like the damaged clothes and stopped watches, while not conclusive, adds another layer of mystery. The star map, whether a coincidence or not, remains a tantalizing piece of the puzzle. Their story was not a simple sighting. It was a complex, deeply personal and traumatic event that left a lasting mark on them and on our culture. Barney Hill passed away in 1969 from a cerebral hemorrhage, but Betty continued to share their story and became a prominent figure in the UFO community until her death in 2004. The case remains one of the most thoroughly documented and studied in the history of ufology. It forces us to ask profound questions. Are we alone in the universe? And what happens when a close encounter becomes too close for comfort? The story of Betty and Barney Hill serves as a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't found in the distant stars, but on a lonely road, late at night. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. See you next time.